What is up, you guys? Today we're going to be talking about how muscle helps you burn fat even while you're asleep. So let's get into it. Muscle mass helps your foundational metabolic rate. So essentially, the more muscle mass you have, the higher your metabolic rate becomes. And this is a foundational truth across all sports and across all forms of fitness. Um, as your body comp changes, your muscle is becoming a more metabolically active tissue. So, for example, let's say your mass increases, it has to use more and more energy in the form of calories to sustain itself. Or in cases where, you have long workouts and you're doing, cardio and things like that, then even more so. Even the benefit of that is even when you're at rest, your muscles are using fuel to stay alive. That means simply having more muscle makes your body burn more calories 24/7. So that could be while you're working out, while you're relaxing, while you're sleeping, while you're watching TV, whatever it may be. Whereas in contrast, fat is metabolically passive, meaning it serves primarily as a fat storage. It doesn't really do much for you except for sit there and make you look fatter than you actually are. So it doesn't help your body burn any calories whatsoever. So we want to get rid of that as soon as we can. Think about it this way. So an easy way to comprehend that is like a car engine. So a bigger engine is going to require more fuel. And think of your body as kind of a machine. And muscle is going to be something similar to, tuning the engine or upgrading the engine. And the bigger and stronger the engine becomes, the more fuel it needs. This is why people who have significantly more lean body muscle mass have a higher resting metabolic rate. Regardless. And as you build on that, on top of that, it'll also improve your cardiovascular fitness, essentially creating a multiplier effect between the lean weight and the muscle mass and also your cardio on top of that. So your body essentially overall just becomes much more efficient. Really big important thing with that is muscle overall will boost fat loss. So a lot of the biggest misconceptions that people might have is that cardio is the only path to fat loss. That's not entirely true. You don't have to, starve yourself or go on this tiny caloric diet in order to see some gains and some results. And the truth is that muscle is ultimately one of the best fat burning things to have, as far as burning body fat tissue. Not only does it burn more calories, it also helps your body shift towards a higher percentage of fat for energy as a ratio over time. Especially like, we're doing low to moderate intensity activities, walking, hiking, or standing. You hit a critical point where the more muscle you have, the easier it becomes to stay lean. And you might be wondering why that is specifically. It's because your daily intake will actually keep climbing slowly and surely as you put on more and more muscle mass, meaning you can eat more food while still maintaining relatively the exact same weight. Or even in some cases, if you keep your calories the same, you're still gonna drop weight. Walking can become a lot more efficient as a fat burning exercise. For example, by default, a lot of people recommend daily intake to hit a certain amount of steps, right? Let's say for example 5,000, nothing too extreme. That's what most people and doctors will recommend. Um, let's say when you're walking those 5,000 steps, you have to carry more muscle mass. That means you're moving actively more active tissue, which in a way weighs more than fat. Not in a way, it does weigh more than fat. So essentially, you're having to work hard to carry all that with you. So every single step you take requires more and more effort. So even if it's, a couple steps here, a couple steps there compared to before, even 1 pound of a difference in muscle mass will make a difference. So every single little thing that has to do with putting on muscle will always lead to you being more anabolic as a whole, or in this case, catabolic actually, because you're burning more effectively. But it provides you the capacity to work first at a higher degree, and second to burn more calories. On top of that, you get much better hormonal health and insulin sensitivity. Your muscle is going to play a major role in your hormonal health, your testosterone, your growth hormone, and your insulin sensitivity. And more muscle improves how your body processes carbs and sugars. So when you reduce risk of metabolic disease, it helps regulate your blood and your glucose. And that's why strength training is often prescribed not just for athletes, but for people who are diabetic for that same reason, or are obese or have some sort of age related muscle loss. Which brings me to my next point: muscle fights aging and inflammation. So the benefits don't stop just there, obviously. As we age, we naturally tend to lose more lean body mass. A condition called sarcopenia, which contributes to being quite frail or slow, or even losing your metabolic gains and also your fat and muscle gains. So overall, you just shrink and contract a little bit. And what's the solution? A lot of people say resistance training and maintaining muscle mass. That's one of your greatest anti-aging hacks or health uh, hacks to preserve your shape and health. Much later, we're talking, into your 70s and 80s and whatnot. And another important thing is that muscle will also help buffer inflammation. People with higher lean mass often show lower systemic inflammation, which gives you better immune function and better immune response and faster recovery from illness and injury. And as you know, within bodybuilding and fitness, your biggest asset is injury prevention because you're in it for the long run. You don't want to gas yourself out. You don't want to get tired. You want to keep doing this over the long term because that's where the big gains come. When you're consistent and you keep putting in that work, that's when the big difference is made. And to sum it up, that's kind of like saying like muscle is just much more than that. It's a strength. It's your metabolic armor. In the sense, if you want to become more efficient over time, if you want to stay lean effortlessly, and protect your health in the long term, you got to build and maintain that muscle mass. That is your number one thing. And it's not just about looking fit, it's about turning your body into a powerful and energy efficient machine. Those are some of the biggest reasons, and there's even a lot more than that, guys. It is very important to keep your muscle mass high, as that is your best weapon at preventing yourself from becoming obese. Even if the bulks get out of hand, that will keep you in touch. Is if you have your lean muscle mass to help bolster you and anchor you. And as always, guys, appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll be back next time. All the best. Take care, guys.